What we're going to do now is talk about the action plan and the key things that you need to think about when you make your plans for next year. We always start off with income, and decide what you want your income to be, because that truly is the end game for all of us. Every business has to make a profit, and for us as service professionals, that's our income, right? That's what, after all of our expenses, that's what we stick in our jeans. And so what we need to be able to do is say, like in Demo's case last year, he made $230,000, and this year he says, I'm going to make 350 grand this year. And what he's doing is he's taking into consideration his tenure in the marketplace, the macroeconomic situation, the type of clients that can really benefit from what he does, all of those different types of things. But given what's going on, I think that I can increase that to $350,000. The next tab is you do the save and continue. And the next tab then is how much revenue is it going to take for you to get there? Last year, for him to make $230,000, he had to generate $500,000 in income. And then depending on whether your business is transactional or it's recurring, then you have to decide out of that amount, how much is it going to recur in 2012. It's really important. And then the next issue is how much revenue am I going to have to generate in 2012 in order to achieve my income goals? Like in this case, he said that if I generate $700,000 of total revenue, I'm going to be able to make my 350 grand. So then you hit save and continue. And the next one is your markets. And as you can see, the new business revenue that Demo's going to have to generate is $650,000. The $750,000 plus the $50,000 recurring that he said that he was going to have. Now he has to understand, what markets do I want that revenue coming from? Have there been any changes in the marketplace? Markets that might be appealing to me this year. In his case, he said, I want to deal with manufacturers, and I want 40% of that revenue coming from manufacturers. I want 30% coming from distribution, 20% coming from service, and 10% coming from high tech. So that 100% equals that new business revenue that I want to generate. We're not talking who your referral sources are here. We're talking who the end users of your services. It could be closely held companies. It could be high net worth individuals. And if you deal with different segments within high net worth individuals, it could be high net worth 1 to 5 million, high net worth 5 to 25 million, because they have different issues. It could be closely held companies, public companies. Those are all different types of markets. It is important that you focus on 1, 2, 3, or 4 markets. Don't be flypaper. Don't try and catch anything that comes along, because you are just not memorable. You can build a brand in those markets. And it's important that you're able to do that. This is where you have got to be very clear about the clients that you want to work with. Now, as you can see, Demo wanted to work with manufacturers. Well, there's manufacturers that do $100,000 a year in business out of their garage, and then there's manufacturers that do billions of dollars a year. So based on who Demo is, where is his sweet spot? Where can he deliver the most in terms of he and the resources that his firm brings to bear? And we have got to be very clear about that, because if we are not clear about it, then it's going to be difficult for us to convey that to the people that have the ability to make our phone ring. It'll be too confusing. Clarity is unbelievably important here. In his case, Demo says, Southern California-based, privately owned companies with ownership actively involved in the business. The business should be at least 5 years old and be profitable. The company should specialize in technology or other electronic parts, and the company's doing $10 to $50 million a year. Geographically specific. Not only is it manufacturers, he's very clear about the type of manufacturers, that they have to be profitable and they have to be closely held. And when you can convey that to people, I get it. Take the time in each of these market segments for your markets that you identify to be crystal clear. And I offer you this, once you get your plan ready for next year, if you want me to take a look at it, I'll take a look at it. But it's so important for you, because if you can, if you're having a meeting with somebody and you say, and they say, well, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. What type of clients do you work with? Well, I really work with 4 different types of clients. I work with manufacturers, distributors, service companies, blah, blah, blah. The type of manufacturers I work with are typically Southern California based. They are privately owned with ownership actively involved in the business. The business should be at least 5 years old and be profitable. And typically the company should specialize in technology or other electronic parts. If I'm sitting here having that conversation, you're getting it, aren't you? Is that different than somebody saying, well, yeah, I work with middle market companies, manufacturing companies that are based in California? Awesome. I'll guarantee if we all define middle market, we'd all come up with a different definition. And I hear that all the time, all the time. Well, I work with small businesses. Do you realize some people term small businesses as doing $1 billion a year? And here's the problem. If you take the time and you're in the process of taking this person down to become a level 1, to get your phone to ring, and you miss that opportunity to have that clarity, done, you're out. You just wasted a whole bunch of time. So take the time to make sure that these market segments are spot on with where you want to be next year. Any questions about that? This is really important right here, because this creates the clarity. The next section is marketing. It is so important that all of us come from a position of strength, that people understand that we're doing this because we care, because we come from a position of the best way I can say this is that we position ourselves as somebody that knows what's going on. We stay on top of the issues, and we share those issues. Do you want to publish an article? I'll guarantee if you're writing an article, people get a sense of who you are. People get a sense of your knowledge. People get a sense of your commitment to your profession. And you know what? With everything that goes on the internet today, you can write articles and you can get people to come see them. Even if you do an article on your site. Like, you know, when I do my blog each month, to be helpful to people, we post it on all the social media. And we get a lot of hits on it. But what it does is it helps people understand what you do. If you give talks, like let's say that you want to give some speeches, you want to go into, you know, into different types of firms, like a CPA firm, and share with them the things that can impact their clients or something. It really helps position you as somebody that stays on top of their business. The next one is panel discussion. There's not a doubt in my mind, there's 3 or 4 of you here that could put on a great panel discussion for clients, you know, on a particular subject that you're all related to. And if each one of you just invited a few clients to that, now we got a great audience. And it can be very interactive. So think about maybe doing 1 or 2 panel discussions. Because if another ProGrowth member sees you, hey Susan, I see you want to do a panel discussion, so do I. There may be some things we can talk about here. And maybe we can bring in Bill and we can bring in Brian to also be on that panel with us. Ding.
I would say bring in Penny because she did an exceptional job
Oh my
2
God,
months
thank
ago.
you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Penny extraordinaire, that's what I call her.
What?
All right, the next thing is the email broadcast. I got to tell you, that little thing alone is such an incredible tool. If you just, something that comes across your desk, some statistics, something that comes across your desk during the month, if you've got that going out to a couple hundred people, and I'm not talking about spamming them, but a good piece of information that they can use, 2 or 3 lines, that's all you can do, because if it's any more than that, they'll delete it. But some data that can be beneficial to them, that takes you maybe 10 minutes to do. You've already got your distribution list set up in Outlook or wherever. Takes you 10 minutes to do it, bing, out to 200 or 300 people. It positions you as somebody that stays on top of what's going on in the profession. It positions you as an expert. But you know the most important thing it does? You're pinging people every month. Oh man, am I glad I got that from George. That's right, I meant to call him about so and Babadoo. I can't tell you how many clients I've had over the years where that's happened.
And what's kind of...
No, you know, it's about offering people good information. People can tell if you're sending them a marketing thing or if you're sending them something that's a good piece of information. And even if you don't read it, there's the email from James again. James is on my brain. That's right, I meant to call him about Bopadoo. So it's a great way to touch people, and the ROI on that is phenomenal. All right, the last section is the business issues. On any issues that you might have, like if you're a sole practitioner, get those in there, whether they're operational, financial, personnel, or strategic, and then you hit save and finish. Now, when you get your plan done, what I want you to do is I want you to go over it. Like in his case, it said demo wants to make $350. It's going to take $700,000 to get there. He's going to need $650,000 in new business. Here's the number of clients and the average revenue per client. That average revenue per client is huge. Because you were talking about the 800 square foot client. If that's not in your market, all that's going to be is a time vampire. And if you stay within your market segment, you're going to be able to achieve the revenue objectives. If you're flypaper and you're all over the map, chances of you hitting your revenue projections and your income projections are, I mean, it could happen, but not likely. So go over your plan and make sure it is what you want it to be. Okay.